Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take a dense stack of sources, find the most powerful insights, and, well, we give you the shortcut to being truly well-informed.
Exactly.
Today, we are taking a microscopic look at something we all see every day, vehicular recklessness. But we're doing it through a pretty terrifyingly specific lens.
Geometries.
Geometry. We're dissecting one single vivid anecdote from our source material, a writer's moment of just rush hour dread. And they titled it, very simply, The Geometry of Vehicular Madness.
It's a great title.
It is. So our mission is to analyze this perfect storm of human impatience and physics. We want to break down exactly how one person's disregard for shared space creates a catastrophic mathematical hazard for everyone else on the road.
And we're not starting on some generic freeway, What makes
Yeah.
this source so compelling is the setting. It's hyper-specific.
Where?
We're in a school zone. This should be the place for maximum caution, for patience, for predictability. But the observer, they know the exact sticky time of day,
Which is?
4:17 p.m.
Oh, that's the worst time. That's the moment where the school run overlaps with the general commuter exodus, right?
Yes, everyone is tired, they're hungry, and the road is just maxed out. It's the perfect psychological stage for friction.
And things are already going wrong.
Oh, yeah. The road itself is already narrow, and the traffic has just seized up into this slow-moving, queuing caterpillar. The observer's car is right there in it, part of this long, frustrated line.
A completely mundane scene.
A mundane scene that is about to be weaponized by two other drivers.
Okay, so let's unpack this initial setup, because this is where the geometry starts to go wrong. Even before speed really becomes a factor.
Right.
The writer says the immediate hazard was created by two auto rickshaws.
Yes. And they were moving in what the source called an unofficial synchronized blockade.
What does that even mean?
It means they were side by side, perfectly aligned, and just hugging the median. They were effectively eliminating 2 lanes of traffic flow.
So no one could get past them?
No one could easily pass, no. But just blocking the road, that wasn't the disaster. It was the shift in their velocity that really defined the potential crash site. We go from the state of parallel, slow movement to sudden chaos. The auto on the right, the one closest to our observer's car, it abruptly slams the brakes, or at least slows way down.
And the other one?
One on the left just maintains its speed, surging slightly ahead.
And that dynamic change, one vehicle just dropping speed while the one next to it holds steady, that's what creates the trap.
The perfect geometric trap.
What did the observer call this? This new, horrifying shape.
They called it the half-trapezoid of metal.
Wow. A half-trapezoid of metal.
And it's a beautifully precise term, really.
Why that shape?
Because it perfectly captures the constriction of space that's all caused by that difference in their speed.
Okay, so let's visualize this. From the perspective of our source, who's stuck behind these two. Explain the geometry.
Okay, so think of it from their point of view. The auto that surged ahead, the faster one, that becomes the shorter parallel side of this new trapezoid.
Got it.
The auto that braked hard. That instantly becomes the dangerous diagonal line, the slant, angling back towards our observer's car.
And I guess our observer's car then, stuck in the lane, it forms the bottom,
Yep.
the longest, slower base of the whole formation.
Exactly. So now you have this confined volume of space that is rapidly narrowing and decelerating. It's an unintentional funnel.
And the writer mentions how tight it was.
Oh, they emphasize it again and again. There was barely a few feet of daylight between these 3 vehicles,
Yeah.
all crammed up against the median.
So that's the setup. This isn't some wide-open invitation to pass. It's a microscopic aperture. And this is where physics and just raw human impatience are about to collide.
And this narrowing, decelerating gap is exactly what invites a very specific type of driver.
The type that sees a vanishing opportunity and feels like they have to take it.
They feel compelled.
And this is where it gets, truly wild. Into this tightly constructed, 3-sided geometric pinch point comes a fourth, completely unexpected variable,
A motorbike.
the motorbike, which the source instantly dubs the serpent.
And that nickname is earned. It's not just about the weaving, it's the sheer velocity. This rider was moving at a speed that the observer said just. It defied common sense for a school zone at 4:17 p.m.
They didn't just approach the gap.
No, they attacked it. This wasn't a slow, careful squeeze. This was a high-speed dash into a space that was, mathematically intended for only one vehicle.
So the rider saw that impossibly small gap between the lagging auto rickshaw and our observer's car and just went for it.
Decided that was the escape route. And what makes this incident just a geometric masterpiece of madness is that it wasn't even a straight path. It required an instantaneous, terrifying high-speed S-curve.
They weren't just passing a car, they were threading a needle made of 3 pieces of moving metal. We should probably slow down and really analyze that S-curve maneuver.
We should, because it explains the extreme risk.
So what did it actually involve?
The S-curve required 3 rapid adjustments of the bike's center of gravity. First, a sharp tilt left to squeeze past the observer's side mirror.
Okay.
Then, straightening out for maybe a fraction of a second while passing the wheel of the lagging auto. And then a third move, tilting sharply right again to veer around the front auto's bumper.
And this is all happening within what, like 2 car lengths?
Barely. That rapid succession of tilting, correcting, and tilting again at high speed, with vehicles slowing down all around you, it demands a reaction time that just doesn't reliably exist in traffic.
It really demands perfect information, perfect prediction, and, well, 0 friction.
And the recklessness of it all is proven by the margins.
Yeah.
These are the details that just bring the chaos to life for you.
Give us those margins again, because this is the proof that this wasn't skillful driving. This was pure gambling.
It was measured in the width of a coin. On the left side, only 1 inch separated the motorbike's handlebar from the side mirror of the observer's car.
1 inch.
Now look to the right, a fraction of a second later. Only 1 inch separated the rider's exposed knee from the spinning wheel of that middle, lagging auto rickshaw.
Wait, 1 inch? That's less than the width of my thumb. That is not a margin of safety.
No.
That is relying entirely on your own muscle memory while completely ignoring the physical world. I mean, how is it physically possible for a human to maintain control with those constraints?
It's not. It's not statistically possible to maintain control safely. What we're witnessing here is a demonstration of pure luck masquerading as skill.
So 0 margin for error.
0. No allowance for a momentary twitch or a slight bump in the road, and then they had to immediately tilt right again to clear that final obstacle.
Right, the leading auto rickshaw.
Yes, the entire sequence, the dash through the funnel, the near misses on both sides, the final clearing maneuver, it was all described as one continuous, terrifying, high-speed motion.
But I have to ask, if the gap was geometrically defined and it was visible, doesn't that suggest a kind of, I don't know, perverse skill instead of just madness? Are we overstating the recklessness here?
That is an excellent point. It really gets to the psychology of this behavior. I mean, if we define skill as just the ability to execute a complex maneuver, then
Yes.
yes, the rider showed mechanical proficiency.
Okay.
However, we have to define driving skill as proficiency executed within the bounds of safety and statistical probability.
And 1 inch isn't that.
When the margin is 1 inch, you have outsourced your survival to pure chance. You're relying on the other drivers, the auto rickshaw, the observer, not to make the slightest move, not to hit a pothole. That isn't skilled. It's the ultimate act of disrespecting a shared space.
The source writer captured the aftermath perfectly, didn't they? The air seemed to hold its breath.
Yeah.
The horns that were blaring just moments before were suddenly useless. This is never about finding a quick way around traffic.
Which leads us to the analysis, the context. The observer, traumatized by the sheer proximity to disaster, they reached a very stark conclusion. They stripped away all the euphemisms.
What do they say?
They stated, that wasn't a pass. That was a motorcycle suicide attempt witnessed at 4:17 p.m.
That language is chilling. It really highlights the psychological state. It wasn't just aggressive driving.
Yeah.
It was an act of self-annihilation that risks so much collateral damage. It suggests a complete devaluation of time versus safety.
And that is the core of the problem the source is trying to address. We have to analyze the geometry of the volume here. That initial shape, the trapezoid, it wasn't just narrow, it was shrinking.
Right, because the one auto rickshaw was slowing down.
Exactly. So the deceleration of that middle auto was effectively decreasing the available volume of safe space for the motorbike exponentially.
Because velocity is relative.
It is. If you're speeding through a gap while the walls of that gap are literally moving closer together because one of them is braking, the time window you have to pull it off is so much shorter.
The risk just multiplies geometrically.
It does. This rider was betting on perfect timing against dynamic, completely unpredictable forces.
So let's take this single, shocking incident, this geometric game of chance. How does it connect back to you, the listener? What did the observer learn that applies to everyday driving?
Well, the incident becomes this brutal object lesson in why road safety is so complex. The observer realized that, just obeying the speed limit is necessary, but it's fundamentally insufficient.
Speed limits are static rules. Traffic is dynamic.
Exactly. This incident reveals three critical interconnected elements that the rider just completely violated.
Okay, let's break this down. First one you mentioned was respecting the geometry of shared space.
That's right. When you drive, you aren't just a single point on a map. You're occupying a three-dimensional volume of space length, width, height. This rider ignored that his volume was intersecting with the necessary maneuvering volume of three other vehicles.
He treated the road like a two-dimensional video game.
Basically, assuming no one else could move sideways or up or down at all.
And the second principle violated was maintaining safe distances. We already established the 1-inch failure there.
And that's not just about stopping distance. Safe distance is about providing a buffer for human imperfection, for surprises. The source analysis defines a safe distance not just in feet, but in seconds.
Time to react.
Enough time for the brain to process a change, for the body to react, and for the vehicle to respond. 1 inch provides 0 seconds. It's a binary choice, success or collision.
And the third element, which is maybe the deepest and most human one, is the valuation of life.
Absolutely. This is the psychological insight.
Yay.
The writer prioritized shaving a few seconds off a journey, the value of time with the value of life and physical integrity. When that imbalance happens, traffic becomes a theater for irrationality.
That school zone, which was meant to be a place of caution,
Was instead used as a stage for geometric games of chance.
The takeaway here feels like chaos isn't random, it's engineered. It's the byproduct of drivers consistently ignoring the physical realities of motion and volume and relative speed.
And when that predictable geometry breaks down, tragedy just becomes a matter of probability.
And it has to have a ripple effect, right?
Oh, it's contagious. When other drivers are forced into unpredictable situations like that, like having a motorcycle snake past them by an inch, their own stress levels spike, their concentration is broken, and they become statistically more likely to make an error themselves in the next few seconds.
So one act of madness degrades the safety of the entire road environment.
It does. The powerful lesson from unpacking the trapezoid of terror and watching the serpent slither is that traffic rules are, at their core, rooted in physical constraints. And the casual willingness to play chicken with inches of space was the most chilling part of that 4:17 p.m. moment.
It really shows how numb we can become to risk in the pursuit of speed.
Yeah.
Something to ponder, I guess, next time you're stuck in that classic sticky afternoon traffic. If saving a few seconds is consistently prioritized over respecting fundamental geometry and human safety, what hidden chaos is lurking just beneath the surface of your mundane rush hour? What unspoken 1-inch risks are we all taking in shared spaces that maybe we've just stopped noticing?
Consider this. The next time you're waiting in a queue, just observe how drivers manipulate the spaces between vehicles. Are they respecting the geometry, or are they constantly trying to squeeze through imaginary gaps? The difference between those two is the difference between safe movement and, well, impending chaos.
That concludes this deep dive into the shocking precision of vehicular madness. Take a moment, observe the geometry of the road on your next journey, and be safe out there.